radio, glowing magic transistor radio, glowing magic transistor radio.
Hello YouTube and YouTubettes. Welcome to an album review. I have a very special formula I like to use to make grades, so you'll hear decimals and other weird things. I'm not going to give away my formula, but in this video, I would like to review the Fugu album, Fugu 1. This was released in 2001. I could not find an exact date. Producer is Mehdi Zamad. Recorded by Francois Galad and Alexandre Longo, except Sol y Sombra, one of the songs, was produced by or recorded by Tim Gain. The label was Minty Fresh and Elektra. I'm not sure which or if both. Studios, they used Impulse Studios, Electric City by Oo. So a couple of, I don't know if that's one or two different ones. They're from, I'm guessing they're from France, but it says made in the USA. But a lot of these names sound French to me. All songs written and arranged by Mehdi Zanad. I don't remember when I discovered Fugu. I found it, I think, at Good Records one day, just browsing and listening to ones that were on the display. Like I found a lot of things before I would use iTunes or internet or Spotify or whatever. But it blew me away when I first heard it. The album cover is a photo and design by Jean-Baptiste Favel. It's a really cool picture, nice steps and colors. Not quite a classic though, and I give it a 9 out of 10. Now on to the songs. The first track is an instrumental and it has no title. It's just a dash on the CD. But my thoughts on this is that it is very Pet Soundsy, like Brian Wilson-esque from the Pet Sounds Smile era. It's kind of got that vibe to it. Very kind of a classical Baroque sound as well. I really love this song. Great artistic piece, well produced, and I give it a 9.0. Track number 2 is called The Best of Us, and this has kind of a Paul McCartney vibe meets Brian Wilson once again. A little bit more poppy, but it's a very high quality track. It's a little less on the lyrical side, but it is a very solid song. I give it an 8.0. Track number 3 is called Grand Celesta, and this is a great song. Once again, it's got this kind of folky vibe mixed with the symphonic, and it's a very artsy piece. The lyrics are more poetic. I didn't give it much for the hook, but number 10, another 10 on production. This is a fantastic song, not as good lyrically once again, or at least for the hook, but I give this one an 8.0. Track number 4 is called Sol y Sombra, and it's kind of got a 60s pop, mid to late 60s pop song vibe to it, and it's not as interesting necessarily as the ones before, but it's still a very nice song. Once again, I'm not as high on the lyrics, especially the hook. It does do well poetically. The production is the first that's not a 10. I gave it a 9 in production, but overall I give this one a 7.6. Track number 5 is called Variations Fitzwilliam. And I don't know who Fitzwilliam is. So anyway, this is kind of another one of those, it's kind of got that symphonic pop of the 60s once again, something that would be Paul McCartney-esque, or even the Zombies or Brian Wilson and others. And so very nice. It's still got in a classical vibe as well. This one does very solid across the board. Once again, the weakness is lyrical hook as well. And overall, I give this one an 8.0. Track number 6 is called Triple Bass, and it's an instrumental. This is a beautiful song. It's got a bass arrangement similar to something Brian Wilson might do, sort of a melodic bass. And it also reminds me of the Beatles song Piggies, which is actually a George Harrison song, but it's kind of got that British symphonic style, and very nice. In two ways I gave it a 10, the musical artistic side and the production, but on the catchiness side is what brings it down, only a 6. So overall I give this song an 8.7. Track number 7 is called Vibravox, and it's pretty much a basic song written wise, but it's got some excellent arrangements parts to it. I really love the bass sound. I'm not sure what it's called. Maybe it's called a Vibravox. I just made that up. I'm not sure what instrument it is. It doesn't quite sound like a bass, but and it's not even so much the bass arrangement as much as it is that sound. It's just a unique sound. And then when the organ comes in, I'm always a sucker for the organ. But as far as the song itself, it's kind of boring, but it is well produced, and it keeps me interested. And overall, I give this one an 8.2. Track number 8 is called Ua Ua. I don't know how that's pronounced. It's O-U-A, O-U-A. But anyway, it's an instrumental, and it's very interesting sounding. I once again gave it lower on the catchiness side, but very good on the artistic side. 10 in production, great arrangements. I love the horn sound and a great melody line. The catchiness brings it down a bit, but overall it's a really good song. I give it an 8.3. Track number 9 is called Ondulations, and this has an awesome sound. The harpsichord, as I'm a sucker for the organ, I'm also a sucker for the harpsichord. And then it kind of goes into this, it's a bit more basic, but it's a very interesting, beautiful melody. And there's always these little tiny things that pop up in this song that keep it interesting. And so it never gets boring. It has that flute sounding synthesizer doing this melodic thing, and then this kind of gurgling sound in the when it's just an instrumentation section. But wonderful song, great artistically. There's nothing weak about this song at all, and I give it a 9.4. Track number 10 is called Monochord, and it's kind of got once again another symphonic sound at the beginning, and then has this that verse section is almost, it's really not much better than tracks 2 and 3, but then it hits this other section of the, I guess you could call it the chorus. And it makes it interesting again. There's these interesting things in here that puts it a step above the previous quote-unquote poppier kind of songs. And very artistic, well-produced, and overall I give this an 8.8. Track number 11 is called Baragon. I'm not sure I pronounced that right. It is another great song. It's got that nice harpsichord sound prominent in this one, and it's got an interesting melody line. Everything in this song is great except for lyrical hook. It's got a great poetic lyric, but not as much of a hook. But other than that, it's all 9s and 10s. And overall, I give this song an 8.8.
Trimmed in the grass.
Track number 12 is called Cymbalon. Once again, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. It starts out kind of basic, like a basic 60s pop song. It kind of grooves along like something like a Paul McCartney or George Harrison type song. Not much going on until it changes to this very beautiful melodic chorus, I guess, section. And then there's these little instrumental arrangement things that are thrown in throughout the song that keep it interesting. Very good song. It does at least a 7 on everything, but there's some 10s. There's a 10 and 2 9s as well. And overall, I give this one an 8.4. Track number 13 is Untitled, and it's sort of an instrumental about a crying baby. And it perhaps is my favorite song on the album. It's just a brilliant idea to have a crying baby and then this symphonic thing going on. Very Baroque. Excellent song. It does a little lower on the catchiness side, but overall it gets a 9.3. Track number 14 is called I'll Depart, and it's the first song that I think the lyrics are not in English. They're like, it sounds like French once again. I don't know for sure. If it's not French, let me know in the comments or what it is. But this is a very basic song. It's a nice song, and it's one of the catchier songs on the album, but a little less on the artistic side. And lyrically, I wasn't sure what to say here, so on the hook I put a 5 and on the poetry a 10. Just because I can't understand the lyrics, but it sounded nice, so I gave it a 10 in poetry. And just a little, this is one of the lesser songs on the album, and I give it a 7.8. Track number 15 is called Meanwhile, and this is a great song. It's one of the catchier songs on the album, but it's also artistic and interesting, and lyrically very solid. A 10 in production, and a good melody line. And overall, I give this song an 8.4. Track number 16 is called Clavipluck, and this has a very interesting sound. It's almost like a harpsichord with some sort of organ sound on top of it, or maybe it is called a clavipluck once again. Some of these sounds like instruments names that I've never heard of. So maybe when these sounds are unique, that might be what they are. So I love that sound, and that rhythmic sound is the best thing about this song. It's 10 in artistically, but lower on the catchiness side, and lyrically not a very strong song in my opinion, but a 10 in production. But I do enjoy this song. Overall, I give it a 7.6. Track number 17 is called Angel Fair with Golden Hair. And this is an instrumental, and it's kind of got a waltzy piano with a Baroque style, but then it's kind of got this romantic period classical music on top of that coming in. So very interesting, and then some guitar parts mixed in to kind of give it a bit of a pop vibe as well. And so this is a very strong song, a little less on the catchiness side, more artistic and well produced. And I give this one an 8.7. Track number 18, the final song on the album, is called Piano Liar. And this is a fantastic song. It kind of starts out with, I guess you could call it sort of a marching kind of vibe. And then it's got this very interesting poppy sound that really, it's really catchy. And then it gets into this weird section that's got this gargling sound once again that is just out of nowhere. So this kind of has a psychedelic vibe as well. And so the only thing that holds this song down is the lyrical hook, but everything else is a 9 or a 10. And overall, I give this song an 8.8. The album flow is a 10 out of 10. This is a very consistently produced album. It's all got various classical, baroque, British symphonic pop, Pet Sounds type productions, and even some 60s pop music and some psychedelic vibes to it. And it's just very good throughout. There's a song by a group called Sagittarius called My World Fell Down that has this vibe, this sound, as well as the Zombies. So check that out if you haven't heard it. Sagittarius song called My World Fell Down. But a very interesting album, very unique. At times gets a little boring, but most of it keeps me interested with the production. So now I will pull out my handy dandy computer and calculate my formula. And this album gets an 8.54 out of 10. Thank you and have a wonderful day.